There was nothing inside because they were completely solid. Imagine finding that on your adventure. Never run out of bricks again. Minecraft has desert pyramids now, but you know what pyramids are supposed to have that Minecraft doesn't? Mummies. These bandaged up zombies are too similar to husks according to Mojang. That's the reason there aren't mummies in pyramids, but surely there should be husks in there instead then. Actually, the TNT has done enough damage too many times. Something extremely rare you used to be able to find while adventuring was a weird spruce tree in the shape of an oak one. Fans dubbed this the Colden Oak tree, and it could only be found in old versions of Pocket Edition. You'd be very lucky to find one though, as they only showed up when a tree generated on the border of a snowy biome and a forest. It's something worth keeping an eye out for if you're ever playing an old version. You're bound to come across loads of flower types as you adventure. Mojang actually removed a few over the years. This is the Pioneer, which was first shown here by Jeb. It was the main flower at his wedding, but got replaced in Minecraft by the Peony. The texture stayed in the game files and got updated in 1.14, even though it hadn't been obtainable since 1.7. Roses used to be cyan in Pocket Edition, and the red rose was replaced because rose bushes are more realistic. Little bit less romantic though. Ah, the old days of Pocket Edition. This version from 9 years ago had a bunch of blocks that we don't have today. The nether reactor core, crafted like this, would generate a nether spire with mobs and items inside. Glowing obsidian would also show up. The stone cutter looked like this and was added so that the crafting menu wasn't too full. Then Mojang decided to remove it for 4 years. Another mechanic that makes your inventory a mess is copper with all 37 variants. That's why Mojang won't be adding a way to oxidize other blocks like iron, which could become rusty over time just like real life. They also won't add a way to speed up oxidization because it would make oxidized copper less valuable. It's valuable? You'd think Minecraft has enough variants of blocks with slight changes. There are 23 types of stone brick, for example. Mojang still added more to Minecraft Dungeons, but won't be adding these to the main game. Some blocks are unused in that game for obvious reasons. There are loads of unique blocks, so look out for them next time you play Dungeons. When Mojang are making blocks, they sometimes need special textures to make it easier to test things. They left 2 of these in the files, creatively named Debug and Debug 2. Using a piston to push a bubble column in some snapshots caused Debug 1 to appear. What the symbols mean on Debug 2 is unknown, but it does look a little like this early sandstone texture. This removed block looks pretty weird, but it was actually Mojang's first ever April Fool's prank. It used to look like this in 2011 and was called the Locked Chest. Opening it brought you to a page showing stuff like a name change, miner's helmet, and even a creeper saddle. You couldn't actually buy these things, luckily. Even though it's impossible to lock doors and chests without commands, Minecraft is no stranger to having keys. The 3D Shareware April Fool's update had 3 types of key. The red one was dropped by the Wither, the blue key was dropped by an Elder Guardian, and Ravagers dropped yellow keys. These supposedly open doors of the same color, but there aren't any to try them on. Minecraft Dungeons also has these gold and diamond key golems. The same April Fool's update had a 3D item. For some reason, you could eat it for a photo of the developers to appear. Speaking of chests, ever think there isn't enough space in your ender chest? Wouldn't it be nice if you could just do this? Or maybe stack them to create even more space? These would allow you to keep so many emergency supplies, but they say they won't add any of these ideas or anything similar. When ender chests were first added, there was only one inventory for an entire server. This meant that anyone could see what's inside, so at least we all have our own personal ender chests. You've probably thought that crafting tables or anvils should let you combine an elytra with your favorite chest plate, strength, and the ability to fly around to your heart's content. The reason this idea was cut is that part of using an item as OP as an elytra is that you have to give up part of your armor. Maybe a good trade instead would be spending a huge number of levels, but Mojang still don't want you to be able to do this. After stripping wood with an axe, where does the bark go? It would make so much more sense if it dropped as an item that could be crafted into wooden armor to go with your wooden tools. Or it could be an alternate way to get paper. It is odd that you can't make paper from trees. Unfortunately, bark was suggested and rejected. No chance of getting an easier way to make charcoal either then. When you put coal in a furnace, that fuel stays in there until it's used up. However, put lapis in an enchanting table and that fuel goes back to your inventory when you're done. Mojang say it should stay like that, as apparently it doesn't make sense that the lapis slot is shared while the weapon slot isn't. I think it doesn't make sense that fuel can't be stored in there. This one's more than just a block. It's inside a block. Beacons were going to have this little rotating cube inside, which looked like an end crystal. This had to be removed by Mojang to stop lag, since loads of enchantment tables can destroy the game. So imagine what would happen with loads of these. A blue cube inside is a bit more boring though. And staying with the enchanting stuff, Mojang won't be removing the too expensive limit on anvils. This is because the anvil raises its prices to force you to eventually use a new weapon, not to force you to use a mob grinder. Even if they did allow more enchantments, it wouldn't make me any better at PvP. You'll need PvP skills for these deadly zombies from Minecraft Earth. This one's called the bouldering zombie and can climb up walls like a spider. The other is the lobber zombie, which, as the name suggests, throws rotten flesh projectiles at players. Both of these weird new zombies have differently shaped arms and new animations functions that the normal zombies don't have, which makes them very unique, but I'm still gonna kill them. All hostile mobs in Minecraft need to be fantasy creatures, which means that Mojang don't want to add any realistic sharks, even though these are suggested very often. They've also said that they will never add alligators or crocodiles, even though there was an alligator in the secret Chinese mob vote. You probably remember the ones from Minecon and Minecraft Live, but there was another secret mob vote that was exclusive to Chinese players to promote the release of Minecraft China. The panda won the vote with 500,000 votes, but there were 4 other mobs which were the Chinese alligator, golden monkey, white-lipped deer, and the white dolphin. We could have had another species of dolphin roaming the ocean or monkeys with fruits. While Mojang love adding new mobs, there's a couple that we will never get. Those are the ones from Minecon Earth 2017, specifically the barnacle, which was planned for the update Aquatic, and the Great Hunger. Can't we swap phantoms for one of them? Mobs from other votes are still up for grabs. Remember this mob from the first ever vote? It was actually called the Wildfire and was added into the code of Minecraft Dungeons, but you can't find it in game. When glitched in, it has 4 large shields and a pillar underneath its head. The Wildfire uses the texture of a normal blaze with a helmet that has a red gem in the middle. The biome votes that Mojang did over the years have shown mobs that are going to be added in the future. They confirmed ostriches and termites in savannas, crabs in swamps, and vultures in the Badlands biome. The Wildfire isn't the only mob exclusive to Minecraft Dungeons that Mojang hasn't given us in the main game. Here are some more. The Iceologer was also in the 2020 mob vote and can summon giant ice chunks to throw at and stun you. Some of the files for this mob call it the Chillager, which is a much better name than this. And of course, the penguin was in the vote for 2023. We could still get these, but you might not know that the penguin has been in Minecraft before. There were emperor penguins and royal penguins available as pets in Minecraft Dungeons. Hopefully they get added to the colder biomes someday. Speaking of biomes, what if Minecraft had a volcano biome? Giant mountains with lava spilling out from the peaks, and from time to time, the volcanoes could erupt. While that could be a fun challenge, it would be infuriating if you've just finished building your new mansion and an eruption burns it all away, so you can see why Mojang won't be adding them. For the same reason, there won't be tornadoes that pick up the mobs and blocks in their paths. They can't add unpreventable events that destroy your work. My diamond blocks! And to prevent those disasters, spell casting could be used. It seems like a natural progression from enchantments, but developer Jeb stated that he's been avoiding adding magic spells for parity reasons. He said he might add wizards to go with witches, as they fit the rule that all hostile mobs must be fantasy creatures, but he won't give players the ability to conjure things up. Fireball shooting won't be added to survival either, because the Ghast can already do that. When Ghasts were first added in Alpha 1.2.0, while shooting a fireball, they would visibly expand. The effect didn't work in multiplayer, so when LAN mode was added in 1.3, this broke the feature for single player too. The code was then entirely removed in 2014. It's such a tiny detail that most veteran players probably never even noticed. I certainly didn't, but I'd love for it to come back one day. And staying with the Nether, walking on soul sand with soul speed makes soul particles appear, but none come from soul fire. The art director said they were rejected as they'd limit soul fire to being used only in spooky themed builds, so they made it just blue fire instead. What happens to limitations being by design? Though there's evidence they considered soul lava. Soul fire was added in the Nether update, but another soul block was completely scrapped from the game. Unused particles existed that looked just like lava particles, but blue. This means soul lava might have been found in soul sand valleys in an unreleased version. It could have been able to flow faster or dealt more damage like soul fire does. Mojang removed it before we ever got to find out, so we just have to speculate. This block looks like grey concrete, but it's not. It's called Reserved 6, or dot name as it was known at the time. When fire spread in Pocket Edition, sometimes it would create this block. Pocket Edition also had these 2 secret blocks. One says update, which would show up when a block was removed by an update but still placed in the world. The other says 8 upped, so that together they say update. Paintings have been in the game for 11 years, but these paintings never made it into the final game. These 4 paintings were found in the files of a Bedrock update, and another update made them look like this. There's earth, fire, water, and wind, but you can't get any of them anymore. You also can't get the Wither painting in the 3DS version, probably because there's no Wither to build. In the old days of Minecraft, there were a few chances to see these 2 blocks that got removed. This one is a placeholder block that used to show up when a block tried to use a non-existent texture. It was changed to this one in 1.5, and then to this purple and black cube in 1.6. Mojang have changed which blocks correspond to which note block instrument more than a few times. For example, note blocks on bones used to make a bass drum sound before the xylophone instrument was added. Any note blocks from this time period still play the bass drum and can be tuned without changing. There were a few others that do this, making for some confusing tunes. Before emeralds, we had rubies. Rubies in Minecraft have taken many forms. These two versions of rubies were used in 2012, but got changed to emeralds at the last minute. Rubies reappeared 7 years later in Minecraft Earth as currency with very weird pricing. 40 rubies are a stack, but it takes 100 to make a block. 2,000 rubies will set you back $80, but luckily you can't buy them anymore. We've all seen the Iron Golem and Snow Golem before, but this is Minecraft Earth's Furnace Golem. When this absolute beast sees any hostile mob, its eyes burn and launch fire at the mob. It's based on the blast furnace, but you can't actually build this guy with one. Don't drop the Furnace Golem in water as they take damage, even though furnaces normally work underwater. It's also very dangerous to keep these guys around your builds as they tend to set things on fire. The Iron Golem and Furnace Golem are alright, but what if they had a baby? This is the Agent. It has no AI because this is from the Education Edition, where you're supposed to program it yourself. The Agent even has its own spawn egg with a red dot in the middle. It has its own inventory and can push pressure plates when instructed to move towards them. Since this is a secret mob, you could call it a secret agent. Another dangerous mob that Mojang added to Minecraft Earth was the Viola Witch. It was bigger than the normal witch with a lot more health and the ability to drink invisibility potions before attacking. Something else that's invisible is the Zone. From the 20W14 Infinite snapshot, the block is invisible and emits happy villager particles. Any mob or player that enters the Zone will get blindness 2 and poison 4 for 3 seconds. You can't use pistons to move zones or place blocks in there, but they do affect the gravity of items thrown inside. The same update also had a cursor block that switched color every second, and boxes of books full of random text. What were Mojang thinking to come up with this stuff? When making a world in Bedrock Edition, there used to be an old world type, which was previously the only option 9 years ago. This world used to have a unique type of block called Invisible Bedrock. It's totally unbreakable, just like the visible version, and would spawn around the edge of every world. When in your hand, it looked like a flat stone block. Invisible Bedrock got removed by Mojang, because now we have border blocks, which are a red variant of walls found in the Education Edition, but not in the main game. You can't walk under them or fly over them, unless you're a teacher. These would also be great for servers, but Mojang won't let us have them for some reason. All mobs are stopped apart from the Ender Dragon, which just flies straight on through. Oh, and Ender Pearls let you escape lessons as well. Stay in school. Sometimes it's difficult to see where a village starts and ends, but with village border blocks, that's no longer a problem. They were seen in a demo at a convention, and the textures remained in the files for years. However, there's no footage in existence of them in action, so it's difficult to know if these were placed like redstone to trap villagers, or if they just generated naturally. The blocks would be nice on servers to confine players into a small space before a challenge starts. Please help me. You know what I don't want to see in a village anytime soon? This horrific creature. When Mojang were developing the villager skin, they made this abomination and left it in the game files from version 1.0 to version 1.1. The weirdest part is that this texture wasn't stored with the regular villager texture files. It was completely separate. Maybe they were actually planning to add Steve villagers as mobs.
Timolian_43. The best way that all the top streamers follow now is Twitch SEO optimization, and they are getting massive results within a short period of time. Have you heard anything about the Twitch SEO optimization before? Timolian_43. Hey buddy, I just wanted to take a moment to appreciate your incredible streaming and dedication. Your passion for streaming is truly inspiring, and it's clear that you put in a lot of time and effort to hone your abilities. But I noticed that you don't have many viewers and subscribers on your channel. If you don't mind, kindly add me on Discord so I can offer you some advice on how to expand your channel and go to the top of the ratings. Here is my Discord username, Helper52.
No? Great! Education Edition also has 25 different new NPC villagers. There's a robot one in a hazmat suit, 5 bee ones, some doctors, and so many more. They have this cool rainbow spawn egg as well. They're invincible and just kind of stand there and tell you a message when you click them. Villagers have iron golems roaming around, but what do the illagers have? I guess they do have
Timolian_43. I'll have you on my Discord. My username is Helper52.
Thought of this too and added it to the game. I'm joking, of course they didn't. The idea was rejected. Mojang won't ever add the ability to trade with nitwits. Many people suggested the idea, but Mojang say no because the lack of jobs was originally a bug that became a feature after players wanted to have villagers with no trades. Just looking out for these guys, times are tough for the village economy. You know how the blacksmith's workstation isn't an anvil? It would make more sense to have one here instead of stone slabs or a grindstone, right? Dinnerbone confirmed this will never be one because of how easy it would make obtaining the anvil. They want it to be something hard to obtain obtain for later in the game, so giving it to you as soon as you walk into a village would be as crazy as giving you free diamonds in villages.
Timolian_43.
Maybe there could be a villager that sells
Sparkling
cannons and
heart, sparkling
cannonballs.
heart.
This could be an item version of a TNT cannon, maybe without the fuse time, letting you launch it instantly. Mojang's statement is that cannons are guns, and if it can be classified as a gun, it's also classified as a solid no. When Minecraft was first being planned, Mojang were going to add spikes that extended and retracted. They would have basically been spiked pistons, but these were replaced with sticky pistons. A developer said in 2012 that they'd like to add spikes but weren't sure how they'd work. 1.17 finally added dripstone, but you can't even push the spikes. Come on, Mojang. A piston can't push more than 12 blocks. This makes it pretty hard to construct nice looking flying machines. Surely over 10 years later they have the ability to increase the limit. They changed the build height limit, freshening up the gameplay quite a bit, so piston limits increasing would be a logical next step. However, the current limitations are by design, so pistons are gonna stay the same. What if pistons could do this? Before Mojang removed 6-sided pistons, you could get them without even needing commands by using redstone clocks. They never really worked though. Mojang removed some other 6-sided variants of blocks, including hay bales, bone blocks, and pillars, all with textures that don't quite make sense. Is this block a dispenser, furnace, or dropper? Trick question. It's none of them, and it's about as useless as it sounds. Certain data values used to create furnaces with no direction, meaning no front either. Something more useful is the faceless jack-o'-lantern. You can tell it's not just a normal pumpkin because it glows. These were obtained in the same way but were removed by Mojang. The jack-o'-lantern was going to be an actual mob in Minecraft Dungeons. Its eyes would have lit up and then launched pumpkin balls or seeds at you, but never made it into the final game. Snow golems have a new type in Minecraft Earth, introducing the melon golem, which is really strange. Just like snow golems, you can shear off their head. This is what the melon would look like if Mojang let you carve them, which is honestly even more terrifying than the normal carved pumpkin. The melon golem rapidly fires melon seed projectiles at its enemies, instead of snowballs like their pumpkin brothers. The new golems are just the beginning. Like the other mobs, there were more types of cow, 12 of them. The woolly cow was basically like a sheep that had a lot more health and only dropped brown wool when sheared. The moo bloom was in the 2020 mob vote but came from this game and could be sheared for buttercups. There was even a very secret pink version that you could not obtain at all, with new pink flowers on its back. You've probably not heard of the rare moo lip, a light pink version of the moo bloom with pink daisies attached to its body. It feels like wool has been in the game forever. You might not know that there was a totally different block before wool was around. Cloth was the original version of wool, with colours like chartreuse, ultramarine, spring green, capri, rose, and way more. You used to use these blocks to craft cloth armour, which was renamed to leather armour when leather was added. For some reason, white cloth was one of the last ones added, and there was never any black cloth, just dark grey. You can get plenty of different types of horse armour, so it would make sense for Mojang to add more types of saddle other than leather ones. They actually did add a horse saddle, which could be crafted